The 2011-2012 college hockey season was one of major accomplishment for the Alabama Frozen Tide. They posted their best record to date, defeated Auburn 3 times, won the Southeastern Collegiate Hockey Conference Championship for the first time, and made their first appearance at the American Collegiate Hockey Association's National Championship Tournament. Oddly, the saga of this special group of young men didn't begin here at their home rink in Pelham, Alabama. It began in this house in Piscataway, New Jersey, and it ended 97 miles away, on the ice rink in the now shuttered Canlan Ice Sports in Vineland, New Jersey. If you had been around the team at the start of the season, you would never have foreseen the joy these boys would provide to Bama fans. You would have seen only their tears. One of the players who is expected to play an important role in the 2011-2012 season was David Mosier. As a freshman forward the year before, Mosier was the team's second leading scorer and one of the most engaging and most liked Frozen Tide players. He would have played on one of the team's top forward lines. David Mosier passed away suddenly a month before training camp. Frozen Tide head coach Mike Quinville learned of his player's death in a text message from the Ole Miss hockey coach while driving home from a business trip.
I texted him back. I said, Coach, I think you got the wrong person. This is Coach Q. He wrote back and said, no, Coach, I heard from a player today that David Mosier passed away. So right then and there, as you can imagine, I fell to pieces.
David Mosier died in his sleep on August 4th. He probably went to bed that night looking forward to returning to Tuscaloosa as a sophomore and to the start of the new hockey season. Instead, his death rocked the non-varsity college hockey community, especially his teammates. Bama's #1 goalie, Sean Vinson, and David Mosier became best friends during their freshman season in Tuscaloosa. No one on the team knew Mosier better.
If you would have known David, his sense of humor. He's the funniest guy I ever met. He's never down. He always had a smile on his face. And it just, it cheered up everybody who was around him.
It's almost unimaginable, but David Mosier's passing was the 3rd death in the Frozen Tide hockey family in 5 years. Brent Ullum played 1 game for the Tide before cancer forced him into an assistant coach's role. He died during the 2006-2007 season. In 2009, sophomore forward Steve Fillo was killed in a 1-car crash on his way back to Tuscaloosa from hockey practice. Following David Mosier's passing, most of the team traveled 17 hours by bus to New Jersey for the funeral.
It was very therapeutic once we got on the bus, because that's what we do. We get on the bus and ride for long periods of time together. So it reminded us that we were a team having to do that, and of course we miss him, but it was a therapeutic experience for us.
As they did following the deaths of Ullum and Fillo, the Frozen Tide dedicated their season to Mosier and added his jersey number, 71, to their helmets and jerseys. They also hung his sweater behind the bench during games and made a habit of gathering at center ice after each game and practice and saluting number 71. Sean Vinson and Mosier had planned to room together as sophomores, so it's not surprising that Vinson came up with his own personal way to salute his buddy.
I'll go to the crease, and then I'll just sketch a 71 in it with my skates, just to show that he's going to be with me in this game. I guess it comes really from the phrase that we created at the beginning of the year that every practice, every game, it's all for you, David.
David Mosier was a special athlete, and not just because of his skills or work ethic, although he had both in abundance. Like Sean Vinson and the other Frozen Tide players, Mosier was a true student athlete. He played a non-varsity sport, commonly referred to as a club sport. The Frozen Tide players are not eligible for athletic scholarships. In fact, each of them pays to play Bama hockey. Instead of the NCAA, the Frozen Tide and several hundred other non-varsity collegiate hockey teams around the country are governed by the American Collegiate Hockey Association, which has rules and guidelines similar to those of the NCAA. The Tide plays in one of the ACHA's 5 competitive divisions. The 2011-2012 season was Alabama's 7th as an ACHA team. Coming off a 2016-1 season, expectations were high for an SC-CHC championship and a trip to the national tournament. It was clearly time for the Frozen Tide to establish itself as a national force.
You know, we started out year number 1 with 15 players. This year we had 47 come to tryout camp. So the more players you get to camp, the better the talent's going to be and the better the team will be in the long run.
With all that talent, Quinville and Noble put together a schedule of games that would test the Tide and prepare it for a run at a national title. It was easily Alabama's toughest schedule to date and one of the most challenging in the ACHA's Division III.
So we built out 3 mini national tournaments in the beginning of the year, playing top teams from across the country, 4 days in a row, 4 tough games.
The Frozen Tide's first major challenge was a 4-game trip in October to Michigan, where some of the ACHA's strongest Division III teams are located. The Tide lost its opener 7-1 to Hope College, which was everybody's pick to win the national title. They went on to lose the other 3 games as well, including a 5-2 decision to Michigan State.
We weren't expecting to win a lot of games there. We kind of took it as a learning experience, knowing we were playing tougher competition. We never played any teams from the North Conference.
We are waiting too long to transition to defense when we're 4 seconds in a neutral zone. They're too high.
Yes, we went 0-4, but what did we learn? We learned how to be a team. We not only went up there to play hockey, but we went up there for team building. Getting a lot of these guys to really know each other, because before guys will play for each other, they really got to know you.
Next up was a 4-game road trip to Florida to play the number 2 and number 6 teams in the South, Florida Gulf Coast University and the University of South Florida. The Tide won 3 of those games, something they might not have accomplished had it not been for the Michigan experience. Particularly telling was a 4-3 victory over South Florida in the Tide's 4th game. Bama trailed 3-0 going into the 3rd period, then scored 4 times in the last 7 minutes to pull out the win. Matt Mays scored the winning goal with less than 2 minutes remaining in regulation play.
So 2 weeks later, when we went down to South Florida, we were playing teams that we were a little bit more familiar with, which we knew couldn't be more talented than what we've already seen. It really helped us come together and to approach it on a different level, knowing that, you know, we have the talent to beat anybody in the country. And we went and got that done.
And I think Thursday night when we lost to Gulf Coast 3-2, I think the light bulb went off. And I think that the trip to Michigan really helped us from a coaching's perspective. Then we came back out on Friday night and played a great game. It was back and forth. It was 3-2. We tied it up 3-3. Then we won it in OT. And that was a spark that we really needed. And I think from that time, these guys really believed in themselves that they were a good hockey team.
After the semester break for Christmas and New Year's, the Frozen Tide met arch-rival Auburn in the 2nd annual Iron Cup Series. Playing on the Tigers' home ice in Columbus, Georgia, the Tide left no doubt who has the upper hand right now when these rivals collide on skates. The Crimson and White won all 3 games, but not by as wide a margin as they did in 2011.
Auburn's good, even though they're rivals. I'll admit they're a great school. They'll be able to attract players from all over the country just like we have.
They're going to get good hockey players. They've improved tremendously in the 2 years. I can see the next games, the rivalry's going to get better. They're going to get better. We're going to get better.
In November, the Frozen Tide stared down several more of the nation's best Division III teams at their Huntsville showcase. The tournament brought together several top-notch teams from across the country, including Hope College, the University of Colorado, California State University at Northridge, Central Florida University, and Florida Gulf Coast. The Tide lost 3 of their 4 games, but acquitted themselves well and matured as a team. Their lone win was over Cal State, which went on to qualify for the ACHA's National Tournament.
The Huntsville Showcase was another 4 games in 4 days. So it's kind of a story here that, you know, to do well at Nationals, you got to play 3 and 3, 4 and 4, and really 5 games in 4 days. So we really set up the schedule for that mentality. In Huntsville, we won 1 game out of 4, but we were in pretty much every game.
As it is for all University of Alabama teams, winning the SECHC championship was a priority for the Bama hockey players. They made it happen by sweeping all 10 of their conference games and finishing first in the West Division. The SECHC championship didn't come easily. As the first seed, the Tide had to overcome an improving and stubborn Vanderbilt team. Leading 2-1, Clay Link scored what proved to be the winning goal with 8:15 remaining in the third, and Bama won 4-2. The next evening, the Tide jumped to a 4-0 lead over East Division champ Florida and went on to a 7-2 victory behind a pair of goals by their leading scorers, Mark Wysock and Zach Daly. The Tide was the first recipient of the new Army Strong SECHC Tournament Cup.
Winning the SEC championship is huge. You know, we created the SEC championship. We paid for the trophy. You know, we started the whole thing. So not having won it was a problem with the team.
Winning the SEC this year was just a matter of pride. Particularly being Florida in the championship game, that was a lot of revenge over a lot of years coming. So that felt great to get off our backs.
As sweet as the SECHC championship was for the boys from Tuscaloosa, the grand prize they sought was that first trip to the ACHA National Tournament. To earn it, they had to win both of their games at the Division III South Regional Tournament in Columbia, South Carolina, the 3rd weekend in February.
All the seniors got together. We said there's no way this team, with as much talent as it has, as much talent as it's bringing in, should we miss the national tournament.
To punch their ticket to the national tournament in New Jersey, the Frozen Tide had to first defeat Christopher Newport University. Leading 3-1 heading into the 3rd period, Bama lit up the scoreboard for 4 goals and cruised to a 7-1 triumph. Mark Wysock and Matt Mays scored a minute apart to ignite the eruption, which also included goals by Clay Link and Brandon Butler. Now only the University of Richmond Spiders stood between Bama and its first trip to the Division III National Tournament. The Tide jumped in front 3-0 in the first period, only to watch Richmond close to within 4-2 in the third. Then, as he had done many times during his 4 years with the Frozen Tide, Mark Wysock intercepted a cross-ice pass in Richmond's defensive zone to give the Tide an insurance goal and a 5-3 win. At last, the Frozen Tide was going to nationals, this year in New Jersey. The 2 wins in Columbia were especially satisfying, given the Tide's meltdown at the 2011 regional, where they lost both of their games as the #1 seed.
Last year at regionals really left a bad taste in our mouth for the upperclassmen that were there. We shouldn't have lost like that, and we really wanted to make a difference this year. I'm glad we got revenge.
No one was more ecstatic over the Frozen Tide's success in the regional tournament than Buddy DeMare, the club's general manager. DeMare, along with his son and parents such as Carol English and Judy Stoke, founded the Bama Hockey Club in 2005 and built its booster club into one of the best anywhere in collegiate club hockey.
For us to be part of the ACHA Division III National Tournament changes everything for us. It changes the entire perception of our program. It gives us the title, the moniker of being a national contender. Teams that we go play, that come in to play us, or we go travel, they look at us different now. They will look at us and go, okay, this is a national contender we're playing. This is not somebody who just is a wannabe team. This is a team that is. And so that kind of changes everything that we think about ourselves and the way people think about us. The other thing it does is it adds to the legacy of the University of Alabama.
As the coaches turn their attention to fine-tuning the Tide for the national tournament, the ACHA announced the recipients of its annual individual awards. Mike Quinville was named the Coach of the Year for Division III. Goalie Sean Vinson was named to the South Region's first All-Star team, and defenseman Matt Mays made the third team. With Quinville at the helm, the Frozen Tide compiled a 20-12-1 record during the regular season, the SECHC playoffs, and the ACHA regional tournament. Although the Frozen Tide would be making its very first appearance at Nationals, Quinville was optimistic that his team would continue to play well in New Jersey.
We're in a position this year that we have two goaltenders playing very good right now. In order to do well at Nationals, you got to have that keeper that can make that save when you need it. And I think that's probably our key right now, is having two good goaltenders. I believe we're a team that can score goals. You know, you look at our players, you look at our top 10 point getters, and they're all between maybe 40 and 32. So we got a lot of guys that can do a lot of things for us as far as around their nets. So I'm very excited to be going. I think we're ready for it. Now we just got to go and execute.
The 2011-2012 season ended in March. The Frozen Tide didn't perform at the national tournament as well as they would have liked. They lost all 3 of their games in New Jersey, on a rink where their beloved teammate David Mosier played as a youngster. But they served notice that the University of Alabama is a national player now and is going to make its mark on the ice as well as on the football field. The 2011-2012 season was a memorable one, full of accomplishment and promise for the future. Even though he never skated a shift, number 71, David Mosier, was with the Tide during every period of every game in the most successful Frozen Tide season to date.
1, 2, 3,